in a pineapple under the sea.
Spongebob Squarepants!
Absorbent and yellow and porous.
Hi, my name is Talia Jader, and welcome to my video about the philosophy of capitalism behind the American television series Spongebob Squarepants. SpongeBob is a show that entertains both children and adults, and now I realize why. For kids, SpongeBob's a show about a yellow sponge living under the sea with all his sea creature friends. But for adults, Bikini Bottom, the place in which they live, embodies the society in which we live in now. I plan to tell you about that society. Our society in which we live in is a capitalist society, America. I feel as though SpongeBob is a symbol for the failures of capitalism, and I plan to show you why. According to the Purdue Online Writing Lab, Marxist philosophy is based on the theories of Karl Marx and concerns itself with class differences, economic and otherwise, as well as the implications and complications of the capitalist system. SpongeBob SquarePants embodies many of these themes. Marx's critique of capitalism stems from his view that capitalism is a wonderful innovation but immorally exploitative. Therefore, the Marx critique of capitalism aims to justify this point and provide an alternative form of economic and political system. According to Swellenwood, the Marxist method provides a richer, fuller, and more comprehensive view of society and life in general, and clears away the veil of mystic in understanding human and social development. Marxist philosophy explains that the driving force of history is neither greater man nor supernatural, but stems from the development of product forces themselves. It is economics in its last analysis that determines the condition of life, the habits, and consciousness of human beings. SpongeBob SquarePants can be best characterized as happy, optimistic, and always willing to put his best work in. He's a perfect example of a worker without class consciousness, as he works as a proletarian to the bourgeoisie, Mr. Krabs, as Marx would put it. According to Sean McElwee in the Marxist economics, competition eventually leads to one firm which exploits workers and customers. In SpongeBob's world, production follows the labor theory of value that Marxist predicts, rather than the marginal theory of value predicted by Austrian economicists. SpongeBob is the greatest known fry cook in the universe, yet he is paid almost nothing. The marginal value theory predicts that a worker will be paid according to the value that they add to the good. SpongeBob is invaluable. It is clear that his value outweighs his pay by 1,000,000, and his wages are near to nothing. SpongeBob Wiki confirms that he makes less than minimum wage, and his only attempt to obtain a raise ends in failure.
Mr. Krabs, can I have a raise?
No.
Marx's labor theory of value predicts workers will be squeezed, they will never reap the full value of their contribution to the final product. Since the capitalists and the landlord input nothing, all their profits must come from the expense of the worker, and further, the product the worker produces, the less value he has. Just as Mr. Krabs definitely has enough money to pay SpongeBob more. By all means, he's a millionaire. Patrick represents what Mark calls the lumpitarian. Unemployed, he is left out of the class struggle. He serves as an exception to the symbol of happiness is achieved once you conformed in the society of Bikini Bottom. He never seeks after money or power, he simply just wants to live his life out in peace. Patrick values friendship over all things. Clearly, he has a socialist spirit in him, recognizing the value of idealists and enjoying life's simple pleasures. In Marx economics, the capital mode of production produces what is called a commodity fetishism, which occurs when social relationships become purely economic. In that case, Mr. Krabs is the ultimate commodity fetishist. For there are no social relationships. He sees everything in terms of economic value. In the episode Jellyfish Hunter, the themes of love versus commodity fetishism are seen clearly. After finding out how good jellyfish taste, he orders SpongeBob to catch his greatest love, jellyfish, and to make more money. After not getting the amount of jellyfish that Krabs wanted from SpongeBob, he sets out to catch them himself and ultimately ends up abusing them to produce the maximum amount of jelly for capital. Krabs, the bourgeoisie, does not see jellyfish as nature, but as simply profit.
There's a standing fee. Money, 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 money. 10, 20, 30, 40. Donate to the children's fund? Why? What have children ever done for me?
You've got to let go of the dime.
I can think of 10 good reasons to never let go of a dime, boy.
Plankton symbolizes yet another class division. Just based on his looks, he is inferior to Mr. Krabs due to his diminutive size. Plankton is painted as evil throughout the show because he rebels against the system. In turn, his restaurant is a failure, and he's a product of the lower class.
Everyone will eat at the chum bucket, and I will rule the world! All hail Plankton! All hail Plankton!
I'm ready. Promotion. I'm ready. Promotion. Ooh, I think I stepped in something.
Not in something, on someone, you twit!
Oh, sorry, Plankton.
While the capitalist system is inherently competitive, Marx saw it as entirely uncompetitive. Bikini Bottom clearly resembles that latter. Competition doesn't lead to innovation. There is no creative destruction. Rather, there is one monopoly firm, the Krusty Krab, and another, the Chum Bucket, constantly trying to fight for customers, not with a better product, but by theft or through political manipulation. Krusty Krab has allowed Mr. Krabs to run Plankton's restaurant, the Chum Bucket, out of business, which has been extremely abrasive on Plankton's health and sanity. Essentially, viewers are given a portrait on the hinderous impact that monopolies have on small business owners trying to make a basic living. There is obvious conflict between the monopoly power and the small business power. It is a capitalist market that allows for monopolies that strip small business owners like Plankton out of all that they have.
Oh, that little piece of flotsam Plankton thinks he can stay open longer than me, does he?
Sure. I don't know. Why not?
Well, he's wrong!
Oh, okay, sure.
As of now, the Krusty Krab is open 24 hours!
The negative effects of free market competition reoccur throughout the series. It is apparent in the pizza delivery episode. Due to the supply and demand economy, Mr. Krabs demands pizza be made and delivered to the customer's house due to a crust. Even though it is outside of the usual jobs of the Krusty Krab employees, Mr. Krabs made SpongeBob and Squidward go the extra mile just for the extra dollar. According to Delahorde, Marx argued private ownership of the means of production enriches capitalism at the expense of workers. And this is exactly what Mr. Krabs is doing, especially since his workers end up getting lost and suffering on their way to delivering the pizza. The boss feels the need to make money and abuse his workforce to succeed in that goal.
Krusty Krab, yeah, pizza is the pizza, yeah, for you and...
Sounds like a lot of...
Hoopla!
It sounds like a lot of...
Hoopla!
Sounds like a...
Hoopla! Hoopla!
Now, I know at this point many of you might be thinking Spongebob Squarepants is merely just a children's show without any deeper meaning or a hidden agenda, which may be true. But if you take a deeper look, there's no denying or arguing the fact that it doesn't do a great job of depicting conflicts of class, capital, and competition. Creator Steven Hillenburg was a true genius in the way in which he created a long-lasting show that entertains both adults and children. Now, I hope you guys learned something, and thanks for watching.
SpongeBob SquarePants! SpongeBob SquarePants!